That's right. It is the morning show right here on social media Facebook, YouTube, of course, our other social media outlets known as LinkedIn, and of course, Twitter's very own Periscope. We'll be joined by our radio audience in just a minute. First of all, though, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got Eugenia. Who's going to be joining us in just a bit? Eugenia Kuzmina. She's going to be talking about some of the roles that she's been playing. Most lately, The Gentleman, and of course, Bad Moms. Not sure if you saw either one. I still have on my list The Gentleman to watch, actually. We got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning.
So, have you seen The Gentleman yet? Or is it on your list? Because I know it's on mine.
I don't think I've heard that one.
Yeah, it looks good actually. So I'm interested to talk to her about that. We'll also be talking a little bit about her modeling career and also her comedy career, which obviously I can't wait to hear a little bit of her. I don't know if she does stand up still. I know I've seen her with pictures doing stand up. So we got a lot to talk about with her as well. Also, just around the corner, we've got Joel Prevost of Prevost Partners will be joining us on talking some tech talk. We're switching gears up here on this Thursday Tech Talk. We'll be talking about some Bluetooth technology, some headphones, including some cool wearables, and some eyeglasses you might actually want for your young youth over there. So we got lots to talk about. But first, we want to say a big hello to our social media audience who's tuning in on Periscope. We see you guys over there. Let's see. We've got shout outs coming up as well. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Facebook, same thing. LinkedIn, we'll try to get to you. And YouTube, we'll try to get to you as well. Okay, we got to take a quick break here. We'll be back right after these messages with more right after this. Stay tuned.
Yes, less than a minute.
All right, we're on a commercial break, getting our very own Joel Prevost ready over there, and getting ready, of course, doing what he does, which, of course, is bring us some of the latest in technologies. Joel, I know we got less than 30 seconds to get ready, but
Yeah.
I understand you guys are having fun over there, huh?
20
we are.
seconds.
We're hanging in there. We're getting ready for school, which brings another level of work, but we're managing okay, and we're having a good time.
All right, cool. We're testing your audio there. Sorry, we had a double there, but we'll come back to you in just a minute. Okay,
Sounds
give us
good.
a minute.
We have 2 seconds.
All right, thanks. That's right. It is the morning show right here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. Joining our already live audience over there on social media platforms known as Facebook Live, Periscope TV, YouTube Live, and LinkedIn Live. We're glad to have you with us. On today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit later on to Eugenia, and I hope I got this right because she's Russian. Kuzmina. And I have a feeling I may have gotten it wrong, but I'm sure she will correct us on that as well. You will see her in the latest films of The Gentleman, Bad Moms, and so much more. She's an actress, a model, comedian, three-peat superstar over there. We'll be talking to her around the corner about the latest in her life, as well as much, much more. Also, we've got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning.
So obviously there's a lot going on in the world, and my question to you is, what's the latest?
Good thing. I'm just so excited. I'm waiting for movie theaters to open up, but then like I'm kind of scared. Like, do I have the courage to go back into a movie theater?
Ooh, that's a good question. I look, drive-ins is I think the next best step. Do the drive-in route first, and then wait for it to, because you know what? Here's what I remember. I remember in China they did this. They released like, okay, it's like release the Kraken, right? And all of a sudden, everybody was back to the way it was in China. And then I think it took about 3, maybe 4 weeks, and all of a sudden they said, yeah, no, and then they closed it right back down. So I don't know if it's like a fun experience to have. Is it kind of like, because I'll be honest, when I went down to downtown Disney, I was a bit like, it was a little creepy because some of the places was closed. I'm not taking anything away from it. It was a fun day when we had it. But at the same time, certain stores being closed or certain ways that you have to like be in close proximity, it takes away the normalcy of it. And it goes like, it's kind of odd. It's like driving down. Yesterday, I drove down the highway in LA because I had to go make a couple of calls. And I all of a sudden realized that the majority of businesses that I was going by were all either closed or closing. And then I thought about each and every movie I've ever seen, like not necessarily Resident Evil, but you know which ones I'm talking about, which are like the world is going down the drain. Look, do you know what I'm talking about, Jesse?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I had a little bit of a moment there, and I was like, I'm not liking this feeling right now. But then I had to shake it off, get to what I needed to get to, and remember, life is worth living, no matter how odd things are going in your life. Speaking of which, we got somebody who has a lot of really cool technologies, and these things you can use no matter what. Some of them are very life-saving, potentially life-saving. Others are just feel-good, fun times. Joining us right now is Joel Prevost of Prevost Partners over there. Good morning. Welcome to the show, Joel.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
Yeah, you know what? Look, I understand you've got, of course, technology that we've been waiting for. And I understand when it comes to the headset generation, there's been a lot of questions as to which ones are the best. Can you break it down for me?
Yeah, well, everyone's getting ready to go back to school. In some cases, they're already back to school. And across the country, people are dealing with the decision to either do hybrid models where there's kind of a part at home, part at school. And some people are doing full distance learning. Regardless, your chances are you're going to need to set your case up with tech. They can manage their workload for school in a way that is effective and that they can focus on their schoolwork. So headphones are a big part of that. Oftentimes you have a parent working at home as well, or you have two kids competing for sound, and everyone needs to be able to listen to their schoolwork and focus on their stuff. So the decision about headphones can be tough only because there's some really costly options out there, and of course they're probably going to be really high quality, but not everybody has the funds to drop hundreds of dollars per headset per kid. So first step is to decide, do you want over-the-ear headphones for noise cancellation, or do you just want like earbuds that go in? And that just depends on your preference in terms of, do you need the noise cancellation or not? If you're looking for over-the-ear headphones that aren't going to cost you like, say some of the more expensive brands out there, there's a really good option for kids. It's the ZVOX, so ZVOX voice clarifying noise canceling Bluetooth headphones, and those are $70 on Amazon. And not that that's cheap, but they're a good quality headphone for a lot less than many of them out there. And you're untethered when you're Bluetooth, which is nice. Some people wonder what's the big deal about having that cord, and maybe it's not, depending on your situation. But for the people who want those untethered headphones, sometimes it's nice just to be able to stand up. Kids, if they're having a lot of screen time, I know my oldest, he can hardly sit down for a meal. He wants to stand up and eat his meals. So it's okay to just maybe step up and still be doing your schoolwork, but be able to move around. If you don't need the noise cancellation, there's a really good in-the-ear earbud option that isn't going to cost you the $179 for AirPods from Apple. And it's the Jaybird Terra Blue Wireless Sport. And it's waterproof, sweat-proof. Keep in mind, kids are going to take them out when they don't need them, and they're going to put them on the table, and they're going to spill something. And so even if it's not for a workout, because they were, really kind of focused on for exercise, they work really well for kids in that regard too. So it's another option from a lot of the mainstream stuff you see out there, and those are $50, and they're going to be really high quality earbuds as well.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned affordable, because I am one of the very few people that want to kick myself, because I originally got the Beats because I was like, man, these are awesome, right? And I remember getting a recommendation, get the Beats, and that was when the quality was really good. Evidently, I guess they sold it and then the quality went down, is what I was told. But at the same time, I think I dropped a good $180 for my first pair, and then I lost them at the movie theater. I literally just left it, I guess, on the counter. And those are the type of things where when somebody picks it up, they go, score, it's my birthday, right? And so I never found it, obviously. I was hopeful. I remember going back going, did you guys get, like, I could just see one of the employees going, no, we didn't get it. Right, And then I went back and I bought another pair. This time I'm thinking I'm going to be really good. And I made it like a red color, so, easy to see. And then all of a sudden, within maybe 2 days, those were gone. And I was like, I can't buy these things, Joel.
Yeah. Well, and kids are tough on stuff. They're going to lose things and break things, not because they're trying to, but it's just natural. They're dealing with a lot of stuff too. And I know I broke plenty of things when I was a kid. And so the investment matters if you're going to have to reinvest in it too. So they're no different than you losing your stuff at the movie theater. So it's a good lesson for all of us.
Yeah, I'd rather drop $50 than 180 twice. That could, know what I could have done with that? I could have bought an Xbox or a PlayStation coming up. Okay, Joel, obviously, look, the kids at home, being more at home, obviously that has got to be a straining on any relationship and or family, just because usually you're used to sending them off to school, but now they're always home and now sleep patterns are thrown off. Do you have anything to help the kids?
Yeah, well, on top of that, they're going to have more screen time, and that can really take its toll on a person's eyes. And I've dealt with some light sensitivity recently on a personal level, and so I was researching some things, and then this popped up for me about the added screen time for kids can really cause a lot of eye strain. And so there are glasses that filter out the blue light for kids or for adults. I was looking into this stuff for myself, and they're called the Swanwick suns, or they have different, sleep. They call one is the sleep, and it's something you'd wear during the day or during the evening if you're on screen time, or if you're going to be out in the sun. It's not. They have a whole wide range of options, but they have some specifically for kids, and there's some fun colors. And it's something to think about, that if your kid is going to have to be on that screen for an extended amount of time, it can really save the strain on their eyes to just filter out that blue light. There are also settings on computers and screens a lot of times that you can filter that out. I know most of the phones now, you can switch it to evening mode, and it gives it that kind of yellow color instead of the blue. These glasses will do that for you regardless. So depending on what device they're on, or if they're getting a school product that doesn't do that for them, this is a good option for kids to consider.
Yeah, I will say I discovered that on my iPhone, and for anybody that has a problem going to sleep, I noticed the huge difference. And sometimes my eyes have always been very light sensitive. I could always, like when there's fluorescent lights, my eyes, I could feel the strain, if that makes any sense. And people often go, "Why are you in a dark room?" I go, "Because my eyes can rest." Otherwise, when there's a large fluorescent light going on, typically, like I get headaches, I get the but especially with the iPhones, when I discover this feature, it goes on at a certain time, whatever you want. So when you want to start getting ready for bed, even though you're looking at your iPhone, the yellow light, I feel the strain go from, like, I didn't know there was strain, and then all of a sudden I see it switch, like it's 10 o'clock. I have mine going on at 10 o'clock. It goes from the blue light to the yellow light, and I'm like, oh, I feel so much like calmer. It's weird, but it works.
Yeah, it does, and I think it can really help someone get to sleep and help them stay asleep, because really important piece. And I know, like, Ariana Huffington has done a ton of research on, obviously, sleep, and that's one of the things, is getting the device put away. But at least when you lead into the evening, just switch that light is a good segue into getting your mind ready for rest and your eyes relaxed.
Yeah, speaking of getting ready, we got to get ready for COVID, because it's here.
Yeah.
Obviously, to stay for quite some time until we figure out how to get rid of it. But I understand there's some cool technology that's allowing for people either to be more safe than others, and or just maybe all of us will want some of these in our life.
Yeah, so wearables are a big part of our life, obviously. Many people are wearing a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, but wearables have really come into play when it comes to trying to manage COVID in a variety of ways. So there's something called Fever Guard from Solos Health Technology, and it's, we talked about that with glasses and cameras can pick up the temperature of the people around you, but Fever Guard is something you would wear to monitor your own. And it learns your patterns of your personal temperature. So there's this kind of misnomer that everyone is 88.6. That's the net temperature, and that's not actually true. We're all a little bit different. Kids are different. You can have spikes throughout the day, and that's natural. But you have a pattern to those things based on your activity and what you do. And so this wearable would kind of learn your pattern, and then would pick up on the exceptions and start to say, okay, this isn't normal, and this is outside the norm, and then would give you alerts to say you might be getting a fever and catch it super, super early. And so again, like so many of these things that are coming to light about for COVID purposes, they apply to any illness. Fever is a symptom of a lot of things. So wearing this wearable could really catch an illness early, whether it's with your kid or yourself. And with the fact that COVID is so highly contagious, early detection is obviously really important for someone who is symptomatic, so that you can minimize your exposure to other people and try to stop the spread. So that's one wearable that's gotten some attention, because some of the people who are really trying to watch this, especially with kids going back to school, you're trying to monitor, okay, we know I'm out of the with the safe checks at plate, and so that's out there.
All right, we're having a little bit of a trouble with your connection.
It's a safe tag, and so like, am I back? I don't want to be.
You're like Max Headroom right now. It's great, folks.
Oh no!
So,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. But before we let you go, look, I understand there's a lot of cool stuff out there. People that want to follow you, how do they follow you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Joel Prevo, at Joel Prevo, and you can use the hashtag Tech Talk with Joel. Always happy to answer questions, research products or solutions, and keep the conversation going anytime. So looking forward to it.
All right, thank you very much. For those of you that like remember the '80s, it was a good show. I don't know if you remember that. That's all, folks. Okay, people. Well, we gotta let you. Thank you, Joel, for spending time with us. Many blessings to you and your family, and keep COVID free. Okay.
Thanks, Aaron. You too.
All right. We got to take a quick break here. We've got to regroup. We got some top stories coming up down the news chain. We'll talk about just after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, for those of you tuning in, we're on a commercial break. Joel Prevo, everybody, Prevo Partners, Tech Talk with Joel is where it's at. And Joel's always got some of the coolest stuff there. So you definitely want to check it out. Let's see, we got Lupe tuning in, Sheila tuning in. Thank you. Rosalie tuning in. We appreciate you, Rosalie. Beatrix tuning in. Heidi. Casey's there. Appreciate you, Casey. Artful Islam is tuning in. Thank you. I'm sorry. I thought it was Artful Islam. I need better glasses. Ariful Islam. I apologize, Ariful. George Zamora tuning in. Katia Wunderland from Switzerland tuning in. Alejandro Patino, great actor over there. John Ruben Quiros tuning in. Lucy Nickel, Michael Valdez, Casey Murdoch. And let's see, if I am not getting your name, I apologize. But whether you're tuning in on, let's go ahead and over to Twitter's very own Periscope. We got you guys tuning in as well, but it's not loading for me. Okay. My bandwidth here is not the best. So I have a feeling that was my fault, not Joel's fault, and or Jesse's fault for sure. But it's called regular internet, right, Jesse?
Exactly.
Yeah, I miss the days of having like super high speed upload and download. But all right, people. So this is the latest. Let's see.
30 seconds.
Hold on. It's pretty good music, though. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't know if you guys heard that. That was a video. That's good music, though. I like that. Hopefully it doesn't mess up my Facebook. So there's a 10-day motorcycle event.
Uh-oh.
And at least 100 coronavirus cases are believed to be linked to it.
2 seconds.
That's right. It is the morning show right here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM, rebroadcasting to our social media audience, streaming live around the world. We've got quite a few people tuning in as well. We've got India in the house. We've got Switzerland in the house. We've got UK, Europe in the house. Let us know where you're tuning in from. If you're listening over the radio headlines there, just follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just look for my name, Aaron M. Sanchez. You'll find it, and you get to chat with our Breakfast Club, our regular Breakfast Club members over there as well. Some of the latest headlines right here, like this one. States are reporting COVID cases linked to a Sturgis rally. For those of you that don't know, that actually is a motorcycle rally, which I saw and I thought, oh, that should be fine. I don't see what would be the problem there. But according to this, at least 100 coronavirus cases in 8 states are believed to be linked to the 10-day motorcycle event earlier this month. That's according to the Associated Press. South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Montana, North Dakota, Wyoming, and Washington state health departments all have reported cases. Republican Governor Kristi Noem, who's slated to speak at the Republican National Convention, supported holding the rally in her state. She tweeted this. She goes, "We are not and will not be the subjects of an elite class of so-called experts. We, the people, are the government." Did she just say we're... Okay. A patron who visited multiple bars in Sturgis, as well as a tattoo shop employee, tested positive for COVID-19. That's according to the South Dakota Health Department. The health department told ABC News, said this, quote, "Currently 40 cases have been reported to the South Dakota Department of Health related to the Sturgis rally. This includes 3 out-of-state cases that were not identified or notified of because those cases had close contact with the South Dakota resident. On August 7th, the opening day of the rally, South Dakota had roughly 9,000 COVID-19 cases. By August 26th, positive cases had risen to 11,500. Look, I don't know which side of the aisle you're on, Jesse, but whenever we had like all of throw caution to the wind, we knew there was going to be a spike afterwards, right?
Yeah, we all knew there was going to be a spike after Sturgis. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't think it was them necessarily being on the motorcycles. I just think it was the after. Yeah, like, you know, when you get off the motorcycle and then you just kind of talk and you just kind of like, you know, hey, how's things? It's nice weather out here. And I know because yesterday I had to move my mom out of this house and into, you know, where she needs to be. And so, you know, I was moving some of her stuff there, and I was like, do I want to wear a face mask? Nobody's here. Nobody's like surrounding me. So I was like, you know, huffing and puffing outside in the sun, which it was already pretty hot. And I thought, well, I should be fine as long as I don't come in contact with anybody. But I think that's just the norm for the many of us, right? So there you go. So be careful out there. But whenever there's a big event, don't throw caution to the wind. Just remember things are still quite fresh. And then there is this story as well. Europe is going back to the school despite virus surge. Yes, you Europeans. A mother and her 3 children scanned the school supplies in a Paris supermarket, plucking out multicolored fountain pens, crisp notebooks, and plenty of masks. Despite resurgent coronavirus infections, though, similar scenes are unfolding across Europe as a new school year dawns. European authorities are determined to put children back into classrooms to narrow the learning gaps between haves and have-nots that deepened during lockdowns and to get their parents back to work. Facing a jump in virus cases, authorities in France, Britain, Spain, and elsewhere are imposing mask rules, hiring extra teachers, and building new desks. While the U.S. back-to-school saga has been politicized and chaotic, of course, European governments have faced less of an uproar. Even though the virus has invaded classrooms in recent days from Berlin to Seoul, some teachers and parents warned that their schools are not ready. European leaders from the political left, right, and center are sending, of course, a consistent message. Even in a pandemic, children are better off in class. Which I say, do you guys have kids? Seriously. So there you go. Look, here's what I say. Okay, look for another 5 weeks. If there's all of a sudden a close down, you heard it here first, folks. All right, people, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back right after these messages with actress, comedian, and multi-talented right after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, those of you tuning in, we appreciate you. Coming up in just a moment, super excited about this actress. She has been seen in movies like Bad Moms, Isn't It Romantic, Dirty Grandpa, Fury, and much, much more. She is not only a funny lady, she's also a very smart lady. Yes, Model Mom TV is her own platform. You should check it out. Actually, I'm going to go check that out right now. I haven't had a chance to go see what Model Mom TV is about. Oh, there it is, modelmom.tv. Okay. So there you go. So she's there with her son. Awesome. And let's see. It says this: after becoming a mom, I wanted to continue pursuing a full-time career as a fashion model, but I ran into so many obstacles. It seemed nearly impossible to be a good mom while flying around the world doing photo shoots and no set schedule. But I love what I do, so I had to figure out how do I do the career I love while still enjoying the life I love, which is being a mom. I guess I'm getting audio. You should be getting audio.
20 seconds.
Tell me that. Turn up your audio thing. That's your situation. We're getting audio. Just read my lips. I'm just kidding. Okay.
10 seconds.
All right, thanks.
Two seconds.
That's right.
That's right.
It is the morning show right here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. Joining our already live audience there, Facebook, Periscope, YouTube Live, and LinkedIn. Joining me right now in the wings over there is, of course, not only an actress, not only a comedian, not only, a fashion model, but more importantly, she is a mom living during COVID-19 and much, much more. Joining me right now is very own Eugenia Kuzmina. Good morning. Welcome to the show, Eugenia. Yes, well, we're happy to have you here. Look, I was checking out your pretty cool website over there, Model Mom TV, and I understand you are putting your child not in harm's way, but you're actually putting your child quite first. And I understand it's kind of difficult doing all the things that you've been doing in your life. Can you tell me what the transition was like for you, especially to say, look, I'm going to put my child first in my life, and then I'm going to also go ahead and still do what I need to do in order to pursue the career I need to pursue?
Accident in my life because my doctor said I could never have kids. So I decided to have two in the middle of my career. And it was a definitely conscious decision, even though I was scheduled to go and shoot for all these amazing covers, like in magazines. I decided my family has to come first because I've been since 15 years old on my own. So family definitely was a priority. And it was a big change. I still had contracts. I worked through my pregnancy. I worked with Gap and, JCPenney and Target, different kind of companies. And then came right back because I had still contracts to fulfill with L'Oreal and other, brands. So I was really excited to come back 3 months after on a plane with my baby between LA and New York every week. And, I noticed things change because, of course, when you have like a 3-month-old, it's hard for companies to trust you that tomorrow you won't cancel your job to go to China and Paris. And that's what started to happen. Like I had to keep on top of the game, and I thought I was falling apart. I had to really come with some priorities and, find a new kind of healthy way of working and being there for my child. And I didn't have any places to kind of consult or ask how other women were doing that. So I decided to start a platform, Model Mom TV, just to share stories and kind of interview other women who were really passionate about their work and didn't want to give it up, and ask them how they were doing that with motherhood. So that's how it started, and I realized that that strive for perfection and always, being on top was probably something that I had to give up in order to really live a fulfilling life and accept help and being imperfect and being late and sometimes, giving up some of my passions for my kids. So it definitely taught me a lot, just having this platform and having a community of.
Well, and Eugenia, you can't go wrong when you put family first in this way, right? And I've seen this much in the career of many friends, and I have a lot of actress friends and model friends, and I say usually the moms that are in this career have a harder time typically than their male counterparts. And what I mean by that is usually the moms are so much more present doing everything and then some, especially when you say just months old. Of course, you've got the nursing situation, which, guys, I don't care how much you think you're present, you are not going to give milk in that way anytime soon.
Absolutely. It's definitely a struggle, but I feel even in Los Angeles right now, there are working women who are creating all these clubs around town, like a working club, where you can come with your baby and keep working and also have like a nursing place and things like that. So I think it's definitely really exciting to see a lot of changes happening and, having communication about that and is the key.
Well, let's talk about your career as well, because I understand there's a couple movies that I've been wanting to see, including The Gentleman, which I understand you've been a part of, as well as much, much more, like Dirty Grandpa, Fury, and Isn't It Romantic, including Bad Moms. Can you tell me what that journey's been like?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, The Gentleman is an incredible film. I'm actually really proud going back to Russia after 11 years, and it opened number one right before the pandemic. It's a really funny film. It was really a pleasure to work with Guy. I have a cameo, but I was surrounded by all these incredible actors, and just being on the set is, it's a gift. Definitely watching how Guy works, and every director is very different.
And again, just for those listening, she's talking about Guy Ritchie, not just a guy, the guy, right?
Exactly.
Does he ever take issue with that when you say, like, or he's just like, yeah, I'm Guy, like, I'm the guy.
He's incredibly talented and, you know, really generous director with his actors and everybody on set, and just has such a visionary. It was fun. I just saw Spice City TV show with Dominic Cooper. It's still going to come out soon. It's a mini series, and it's all about spies, in the 60s. Did my own stunts. Dominic is incredible.
Whoa. Let me back up. Hold on. Whenever somebody says they do their own stunts, I go, are you crazy? Because I've done some stunts and I messed up my leg once. And I was just walking in a store. So I got to imagine, what kind of stunts are you talking about there?
Well, Dominic had to break a bottle over my neck.
Oh,
so
well,
that's
okay. That's normal.
and, yeah, I was kind of worried, but I didn't know they make all these bottles out of sugar. It still hurts, but we practiced a lot before. And, of course, there are stunt coordinators who are ready to jump in anytime. But I love doing my stunts. I worked a lot with Sam Hargrave, who, is the director of Extinct. Right now, a film on Netflix. You can check it out. One of the best action films of this year. So I practiced a lot before that, also with Terra Tactical, who trained, Keanu for John Wick.
Wait. I got to stop you there. I'm going to go into the tactical range soon myself, by the way. Any tips? Because I'm ready to, do every gun out there. But is there a gun that you like the most now?
They do their own guns, which John Wick uses in his films. So they definitely know what they're doing, and I am trusting them because it's not something that I do every day just for a specific project. But, of course, you want to be as professional as you can, and it's really fun. They make it really easy and safe for you.
Well, I'm going to need to get your info because I need to learn from the best. But look, Eugenie, I understand you're like I guess a 5-Pete person. You're a good entrepreneur. You're doing things from your heart. You're trying to give women and mothers in their careers a platform, which I love. Again, for those tuning in, you can check it out, modelmom.tv. And then you're an actress and comedian extraordinaire. Are you going to be performing anytime soon? Or is that just not a thing right now?
Yes, I just performed a drive-in show, which is quite popular. It's a late night drive-in show, and they partner with different hotels around town. So we did it with Andes, West Hollywood, which is next to the Comedy Store. And there's a lot of cars who drive in, and then there's a live stage and a projector. And it was just really incredible, because I really missed that connection. Of course, I didn't know how to do a live show to, a lot of cars, but it worked out perfectly. People were blinking and actually sitting like outside their car, but with social distancing. And I feel, we all crave that connection more than anything in a safe way. So that was really fun. And we do sometimes virtual shows and waiting for our tour to come back and go to Chicago and New York next spring.
Wow. Well, you know what? I congratulate you on all of your work, Eugenia. I know we got to let you go. I know we're on a time break here, but I do have a question before we let you go. Obviously, you have been able to excel in places that others only dream of. And what I mean by that is, I know and have quite a few model friends. However, they all want to pivot into other, whatever their love is. So I guess my main question for you is, if you had to take away one thing from your life, which one could you actually never take away from your life?
I would say compassion and curiosity. Those two things that motivate me every day to learn new skills. And whenever you want to change your career or do something new, it's all about the skills, So if you're open to, to go back and be open to new opportunities, you can always do that.
Yeah, I agree, and I appreciate you. Thank you very much for spending time with us. I'm going to go check out The Gentleman, starring you and so many others. I mean, there's a whole list of people in there. Did you get to powwow with anybody? I know that's kind of like a thing you don't do, but
I Michelle Dockery, most of that because she was my co-star, but definitely I saw Matthew there. And
again, Matthew McConaughey, people, if you don't know who she's on a first name basis with these people, just saying.
So I saw them working, and it was very incredible and inspiring to see, how professional actors do it who started many years ago.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your next role. Definitely stay in touch. You always have an open seat here on the morning show. Thank you for spending time with us here on the morning show.
Thank you, Aaron, and everybody. Have a beautiful morning.
Absolutely. All right. And if you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out. It was a pretty big budget film over there, but you can check it out. The Gentleman. I've been wanting to rent this for quite some time, and now let me just put it this way. I think I got to go do it with us. Of course, director Guy Ritchie, which is an amazing director. Charlie Hunnam, Matthew McConaughey, and Colin Farrell, Michelle Dockery, and so many more. Again, if you haven't had a chance to go check that out, Hugh Grant's in it. There's just a whole list of names, including yours truly, Eugenia Kuzmina, and you can go follow her on her website. Again, modelmom.tv. Support her and help her out. And, sometimes people forget that sometimes their support, lending themselves support, helps build an audience for people to work like that. And sometimes it's just a follow. You have people and films and everything really do appreciate that. Okay, people, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back right after these messages with more. All right, for those of you still with us, we appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. I do apologize. I kind of messed up on her audio there, although we do have it on the radio, so I'm going to have to do a quick edit and get that taken care of. But for those of you tuning in, we appreciate you. Again, she supermodel, actress, comedian, entrepreneur, mother. All of those all wrapped into one. Obviously, got a big heart, and I always say whenever we get people here on the show, you sometimes can tell when people are a little, what's the word I want to throw out there? A little high and mighty. I'll put that one. She's none of that. So, which, you know, shows you she's been in it to win it. Because here's what people don't understand. And I remember a friend used to tell me this. They said, some of the nicest people are the biggest stars. That's why they keep getting hired. Nobody wants to work with a douchebag, right? Or a prima donna, right? I've worked with each and every one of those. Usually they're struggling artists. They're ones that think that, their stuff don't stink, even though you're like, we use the same bathroom. I went in there after you. It wasn't good. Because, right? Do you know what I'm talking about, Jesse? Am I wrong on that? You know?
Oh, about stuck-up celebrities?
Yeah. There's quite a few.
I've never met any stuck-up celebrities or celebrities in general, so
I have. It's no fun. Especially when you're like, I really used to like you, but now I know that's the real you. Now, I get it. Sometimes you get them at the wrong time, and I get that, because that happens to all of us, right? So you have to, not throw caution in the wind. But there's some that you're just like, they're just like, But some of the kindest people, like one that she mentioned, Keanu Reeves, you always see him being very kind and considerate, and you can see that with her as well. So keep doing that. No matter what life throws at you, no matter how successful you become, remember, we're all in it to win it.
2 seconds.
All right, thanks. That's right. It is the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live audience there, Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and LinkedIn. If you're just joining us and you didn't get to hear that great interview with Eugenia Kuzmina, you can definitely do so. Just check it out on our SoundCloud and or Facebook, and you can check out the entire program. What I enjoyed about that interview is what I see often in mothers, whether they be married and or single, that they can pull it all together, admittedly. So I have a good friend who lives in Vegas. Shout out to Rosie Mercado, who reminds me of this woman, because just like her, she has several kids, by the way, and although she has help with her oldest daughter, it was never easy. I remember when life was, and shout out to Rosie Mercado, who can be seen on The Doctors now. But we go way back, so far back that I remember her going from Las Vegas to LA and then right back to Las Vegas, which for those of you that don't know the time frame on that, that's a typical 4-hour drive one way. So she would leave Las Vegas, go to an opportunity, and then head straight back. And then at the time, she had like 3 different side businesses. She was just everywhere. Originally met her from Curvy Girl. She was on that show on Nuvo TV back when Nuvo TV was around. And back to Eugenia, I don't know Eugenia's personal full story, but I do know whenever you talk to these women that are strong powerhouses, it's not like life is ever perfect. It's not like life is always, which I know there are those on the outside that go, oh, they have it easy. Everything is handed to them. Oftentimes, it's exactly the opposite. Rarely do they have time for themselves. Rarely do they have time just for life. They are so busy tending to the family, putting food on the table, and so much more. You gotta give respect. Respect is due. But I think, if anything, what I always appreciate about these women and or men that are also in the same position is that they always put the family first, no matter what. And that you can definitely see in her, and also what she shared with us as well. So I think if that's a lesson, that should be a lesson, especially during COVID-19. Always put the family first. Always put your loved ones first. I remember not really talking, but discussing this very subject about some who are kids who grow up with very busy family members. And what I mean by that, no matter what career they're in, it could be film, it could be TV, it could be music, it could be a business, it could be putting food on the table for the family, it could be a lot of things. And yet oftentimes during the formulative years, sometimes the one or both could be completely amiss of that child growing up and needing them in that current time. So again, a shout out to all the working parents, all the men, women, And of course, sometimes the aunts and the uncles, the grandparents who pitch in as well. I know there's a lot of different cultures out there, and oftentimes in many cultures, families band together to make things work, which again is not easy, especially during COVID-19. You've got people now which are, let's face it, even less time because the kids can't go to school. And I get it. It's a strain on the whole family. You know, the kids want to play around, get out, and then of course they do, but you got to do so safely and not always with other ones because you don't know who's practicing social distancing. So again, we really need to get through this together and quick and fast. And so that's what I would ask the government to jump on a little bit more than just the rhetoric. But there you go. And then for countries that are throwing caution to the wind, here's what I say to all of you. Watch out. You really should watch how other ones have done it and then end up going back to the way it was. I get it. It's a nice little reprieve, but at what cost? Why don't we minimize it or reduce it significantly? And you know what? Why don't we take the downtime and say, let's get the technologies in place to be able to help each and every business to A, get back to the way it was, and B, get the employees back to working, because that needs to happen. That should be first and foremost. Education, a strong second. I 100% agree. But you know what? Take advantage of all that technology has to offer. Here's what I would say. Any government out there and or institution, start providing reduced classes. I mean, let's face it. You don't have the same bills typically that you would have running a university. Or are you still paying those bills? Is that why you're charging a lot of money? Because here's what I say. People could barely pay the rent. And I know there's a lot of you out there. If you could barely pay the rent and or put food on the table, education comes in at dead last. So why don't we take this time and invest in the technologies that we already know are there and offer these curriculum, many of which I would venture to say is simple online. Is it for everybody? No. But do you think that maybe high schoolers and or people that could go to college right now would probably take advantage of the majority of it? I would venture to say yes. So look, if you are in President Trump's ear or Biden's ear or any of their administration, why don't you put that down on the table? When China, well, back in mid-1970s, China was at a very desolate position. They were almost considered a third world country. Yet at that point in time, one of their big leaders at the time says, you know what, I'm going to go around the world, get out of our own bubble that we have helped create. Let's face it, China helped create their own bubble. This is true. But one of the very smart leaders actually went out and went to Europe, went to other countries that were developing at a very amazing level. And instead of saying, you know what, how dare all of you, we know how to do things better, he actually said this, you know what, we need to implement a curriculum to our own people, and we're going to have people tested all across China. And I'm sure not all of them applied, but those that did, that scored very high on the curriculum, they actually gave free education and or reduced education, from what I understand, to those that could not afford it. So here's my challenge to each and every one of you ready to vote and put your hearts on the line. Has anybody talked about that during this pandemic? Have they at least said, look, why don't we take the time, the technology is there, why don't we say to all the universities, since you don't have to pay the big leases, or are you still paying the big leases, which I understand, but then minimize, right? How many families have minimized right now? How many businesses have closed down and or shut down just to minimize their exposure, financially speaking, right? Then minimize universities. You guys have had such big universities for so long paying the big bills. I get it. You're trying to make a lot of money to be able to pay your university teachers. But guess what? What if you could offset that? What if you could pay a little bit more to the university teachers and or professors, but still offer the curriculum, still offer the certificate, and be able to get more people educated during this unfortunate downturn of events? Maybe provide stuff with that people are actually going to get a job with. You know what? Look, I get it. A lot of people go to college and they pay for a lot of stuff, a lot of curriculums, a lot of stuff that they'll never end up making a dime on and or reduced amount. I have a good friend who went to college to become a social worker. Do you know how much a social worker makes starting off, Jesse?
Well, judging by how you're asking me, I'm guessing $30K.
Ooh, you're so close. Yeah. And you know how much it costs just to go to college for that? About almost, well, it depends where you go to college, to be honest. But, you know, it could be anywhere from almost a little bit more than that. But how do you pay that down? That's barely enough to be able to put food on the table, right? 30,000. Let's take the math. to be able to pay rent, to be able to pay for basic life's necessities. And that's just for one person. That's if they don't have a family. So here is a career which is meant to do more good, right? Social workers typically do a lot of good for those that are put in their stead. And yet at the same time, the amount of cost to be able to pay that back is significantly underrated. Now, in order to get a bump in your salary as a social worker, you have to almost get a master's degree in order to get close to $50,000, by the way. Now, you're thinking about the cost of that. You understand why I've always said our educational school system or educational system really needs to be revamped? I feel it's been long overdue. So why don't the educational people at the very top say this? Say, how can we make this work? How can we put people back to work, do so safely, and do so utilizing all the technologies that we have? Plus, let's make it, instead of a foolish errand, because let's face it, the younger generation are viewing it as, am I going to make money online, or am I going to make things digitally, or am I going to make money if I go and practice a career in, I don't know, phlebotomy, right? Healthcare, for example. Healthcare at an all-time high. Those things need to be done in person, right? I don't want you testing on yourself phlebotomy. I want you to go into class. So obviously, I'm not saying everything should be virtual, but let's take some of the universities that have done it right and are being successful at it. Say, look, for those particular careers that need hands-on, we reduce to just those, and we do so safely. We implement safety protocol. We do so social distancing. We wipe down our counters, our areas, and we only do it for when we need it. But then the other times we can do it when we don't need it. A lot of it's textbook, let's face it. Textbook, training, listening, right? And then you got the hands-on experience. So why don't you minimize that? And you know what? Take a pay cut. Why not? We're all taking a pay cut. I don't know about half of you, but I would imagine everybody's taking some type of pay cut and or trying to save their monies. Okay, people, well, I'm out of time here on the radio show, but I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thanks for following me on social media. And again, make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, sometimes you just got to think outside the box in order to make it work for all of us. I'm not talking about socialism. I'm just talking about, doing the right thing. Okay, people, love you. Appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow right here on The Morning Show. And for the rest of you tuning in, we appreciate you as well. Look, I got a little bit of time here, so I kind of want to just say this. Look, no matter where you are on this side of the aisle with whoever you want to vote for, I would put that question at the next debate. Seriously, what is going to happen with the educational school system, and what can we do to fix it? Because I feel it's been broken for quite too long. Obviously, there have been colleges and or trade facilities that have closed down willy-nilly, right? All of a sudden, leaving the people to go like, where am I going to get my training in, or am I going to get my money back? How many of those happened just a couple years back? To which I say, why don't we focus on the careers that are going to make money? Back to China. China was smart in the 1980s. They focused more on technology. They focused on things that they could actually revamp. And now, if you look at their economy, they are one of, if not the strongest economies out there because they invested in the people. Now, does that mean that everybody is like either a very rich or very poor? Well, actually now they have somewhat a middle class, whereas it used to be only the very elite and then the very poor and downtrodden. I would venture to say many of us are not 100%. Well, you know what? I think if we keep going like this, that's where we kind of end up going. And if we end up going in that direction, that's the direction we don't want to head down anytime soon. If this pandemic, let's you know what, let me just throw this out there. Okay, let's say 5 vaccines come out. Of those 5 vaccines, one of them is really good. You've got to make that vaccine for the entire world because this is a global pandemic. I'm not blowing things out of proportion. I just talked to somebody yesterday from Moscow who was talking about a singer-musician, by the way, and she's like, yeah, COVID-19 is here. We have a little bit of funds from the government. It's not much, but it's helping us out as much as possible. It's not much, but, what are we going to do about it? We still have to wear face masks. This is in Moscow, by the way, because, again, thanks to social media, you can reach out to almost anyone. So this is a global pandemic. Regardless of your political leanings, regardless of the rhetoric, whether it be Democratic and or Republican, remember, this is still a pandemic. People still are dying around the world. So when it comes to our educational facilities, why don't you, in the meantime, since you're not having a lot of people go, look, I've seen stories of universities that have opened and now they're closing back down. We just reported on one yesterday in Alabama, right? Because they're seeing a huge influx all of a sudden. They're like, whoa, 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 whoa. What happened? What happened? And these were with college students, right? What do college students do? They drink a lot, right? Yeah. Okay. So agree or disagree. That's what happens. So of course they're like, well, close the bars. Maybe that'll help, right? Well, the kids are still going to get together and throw caution in the wind. Why? They think they're young. They're like, you know what? Typically, here's things that people don't know. When the Army recruits, they recruit young ones because young ones actually feel they're invincible. Don't believe me? Do the research, right? Didn't you remember when you were 18, 17, 16? You're like, life is grand. Life is great. I cannot wait to be an adult. And then you end up being like 35 and you're like, man, I can't wait to go back to the way it was. Can I just... So here's what I say. Instead of educational school systems trying to eke out a living, why don't you just learn to budget much better during this pandemic and plan for, I don't know, the next 3 years? Anything short of that is pretty good, but do that. Figure out a way and a system to make it more affordable for people that are having to stay home and are trying to change their career so that they can, guess what, get a job. And a job that either is A, virtual, B, is hands-on, or C, is quite needed right now, like healthcare workers. How many healthcare workers do you think we're going to need to ramp up in just the next few years? So let's invest in the people. For the people, pay their taxes more often than not, and pay into the government, and that's where the government gets their money from. You see what I'm saying? Oh, not 100% entirely true. Oh, make trade deals as well and financial agreements with other countries, and we're going to stay in debt for years to come because there is no way to pay down the national debt 100%. There's just no way at all. Where are you going to pull the money from? So let's do the right thing during a pandemic, during the worst time that I think a lot of us have ever seen. Businesses are closing daily. Employees are being put on the job lines. Let's focus on what's important. Let's focus on the people. Stop wanting to get the vote. All right, people, I love you. I appreciate you. Make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living. Have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.